a live copyrighted presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for RadioLawTalk.com with your host, Frederick Penny, attorney at law. And now, RadioLawTalk.com.
Flying under the radar here at RadioLawTalk.com. I'm Frederick Penny, your host, with my co-hosts, Todd Cunin and Denise Durst. We are without our friend, Chris Rodriguez, who normally sits by us but decided to take the time off. And
suspicious circumstances.
Yeah, suspicious circumstances that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. We also have Todd is back from his vacation, and then we've got Brad Smith and Jeff Smith in the studio taking the place of Cal Hunter, who is out, and we're going to discuss where or what Cal Hunter is doing. And we have Seth Madden, our call screener, back there, and I truly believe that Cal Hunter told us he is in a play, and he's playing Santa Claus.
That's right. He's Santa Claus for this weekend.
But I truly think he is working his side job at the Shasta County marijuana dispensary drive-through.
I'm going to say that Cal has also gone under suspicious circumstances. That's my buzz phrase for the day. Suspicious circumstances.
So we're putting a private investigator out there, Seth Madden, our call screener, to find him and see if we can find a picture and sneak up and find him in the drive-through selling. So we're gonna work on that the next 3 hours, and here at Radio Law Talk, we're here 3 hours in the studio, and we're going to talk about all kinds of things. The latest updates on the law, the latest updates on issues coming before us all the time concerning Katy Perry. We're going to talk about. We're going to update the Durst trial. We're going to talk about Burning Man, Mel B's divorce. The Stanford swimmer, there's some issues there. We're going to talk about potholes. We're going to talk about defects in cars, CarMax and Ford. And we're going to talk about some farmers the farmers union battling with some farms about whether or not they have this or that right to make sure that their contracts are upheld against other farmers. And that we're going to get in detail about that. But it's really interesting, Denise, to know that it's a last-minute thing. I get a phone call that C-Rod, our Prince Harvard, says, I can't make it. And I said, what do you mean you can't make it? We need you here. This is important. And I said, we're going to talk about you while you're here. Now, you were here, Denise. Todd wasn't here. Last week we were off, we did the best of. And those of you who have called in, none of you have called and said, what was our live feed going from our website? Well, it wasn't because it was the best of, but it'll, from now on, even when we do a best of, the live feed will working. But that's rare. Denise and I and Todd have committed ourselves to a lifelong strap to these microphones for the rest of our lives. And so we will not be leaving you. We love to be live. But anyway, so here Chris tells me this, and you know what he told me? I don't know if this is true or not. He said, I'm working on these multi-million-dollar cases. So don't forget, C-Rod's the hot shot of all of us. He works on stuff that's $100 to $500 million cases where, it's like, I got clients rolling in, and we're working on this trial that's coming up, and it's worth. I'm not going to say how much because he probably told me not to say how much, but it's not a small case. And I said, what? You're going to leave us to work on a multi-million-dollar case and not come into Radio Law Talk? I mean, what, Denise, what's up with that?
Well, he's got other things to do.
I guess we're second. The pay here is second. His high-paying job is second. Now, Cal makes a lot more money up there in the drive-thru, I'm sure, and we're going to find out what he's doing. But
well, Cal running the drive-thru, he gets a kickback on a per-sale basis, undoubtedly, and he's so inventive and intuitive. He's probably got these meal plans, so it's not just I'd like to order this and this. I'd like the number one that comes with a combo plan.
Yes.
So it's the substance, the usability, and a free drink for your trouble with probably a little toy and a snack in the bottom of the bag.
Well, no, I think what happens is when you roll up to the drive-thru, they have the little slide window. I think what happens, the window opens up and a pile of smoke comes rolling out. You can't see Cal. You know, like at the concerts when the people
Yes.
walk out.
And kudos if you get this movie reference. He has the name Jeff Spicoli listed on his name tag.
Yeah.
So.
And you see this gray beard, and he's all dressed as Santa Claus coming out of the smoke.
That's exactly right.
But the only difference is normally in a drive-through when you get up there that you can never hear the person that is running the drive-through. It's always and you can never understand. But then if Cal's running the drive-through, you have this smooth, silky voice. So you drive up. Welcome to the dispensary.
No, this is it. Ready?
How can we help you today?
No, here it is. I'm not as good as Todd with my voice, but I want to be close. Welcome to the dispensary. This is Cal Hunter, 3-time Emmy Award nominee, but never a winner. How can I get your what is it?
Your cannabis order.
Burger. He's still upset about that.
Well, I'm going to miss not having a case or no case today.
No, we've got a case or no case.
We do?
Well, no, I have case or no case, so I've taken over the case or no case. We're going to do one this hour, and then the third hour, Seth Madden, our call screener, has got one. So we're going to do case or no case the third hour. But, when you're here at Radio Law Talk, we have to remind you that even though we fly under the radar, it's taking off. Next week, 1380 Sacramento is picking us up. New station. We're thank you to the Nevada Talk Network. They've picked us up. We're all over the place. And Amargosa Valley. Again, thank you, Amargosa Valley, for being here. And we're going to talk about the Amargosa Valley in a minute. And Chris Rodriguez, our Harvard Prince that's not here. But we have to tell the little standard warranty / disclaimer stuff. So here we go. So we're only talking about general law. If you need an attorney or you have a legal issue, seek a lawyer in your state that talks about or handles that type of a law. And just so you know, this was easy before because we're a California lawyers, and I'm actually barred in Washington, D.C. also. And my practice, I do have partners throughout the United States.
Bar certified in
Bar
Washington,
certified.
as opposed to barred.
Barred,
Yes.
you can't go to Washington,
Fred
D.C.
Penny cannot land in Washington, D.C.
That's true. That's true. There we go. Barred. That's true. I am state barred. Well, if you want to call it that. But I do have a license to practice law in Washington, D.C. Let's say that way. So yeah, I didn't think about that because you don't like it when we call you a criminal lawyer.
Todd Kunin, the criminal lawyer. Yes, I'm here as my service on Radio Law Talk is part of my community service
Exactly
to
right.
satisfy the probation conditions of my release.
That's exactly.
I don't do crime.
But anyway, we've got to say that. And so remember, if there's any commercials that are running, most of it is California lawyers. We are moving so fast into so many different states. It's exciting. We are trying to catch up with it and make sure that we follow the, every little rule and details of the law. And so we're talking general law. So if those of you who want a question, you can still call in and we'll discuss it with you. The phone number, Denise, is what?
Phone number is 855-LAW-RADIO. That's 855-529-7234.
Yeah, and then or you can tweet us or go to our website, which is www.radiolawtalk.com. And I want to tell you something interesting, too. I hate to interrupt again, but people say, start adding it up. 855-LAW-RADIO. That's too many. That's too many
numbers.
That's too many numbers. But what happens is, by the time you hit the O, it's already dialing. So you have to say it should be 855-LAW-RADIO. Because the O, you don't have to put the O on.
R-A-D-I
is what it is.
855-LAW-RADI.
Yes. That's exactly
so
right.
We are radii.
We're law ready.
So we're all about trying to figure out what the circumference of a circle is. Radii. Never mind.
That's exactly right.
Stop.
So we're going to come back and talk about case or no case. Go through all the details of what's going on with the latest on Durst, BurningMan, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll be right back after these messages. I'm Fred Penny.
You're listening to RadioLawTalk.com. And now back to your host, Frederick Penny.
We're talking about about the latest updates. We're going to talk about Durst, Burning Man, Mel B, the Stanford swimmer who is appealing his sex conviction, right?
His conviction of rape.
Of rape, and of whether or not he has to
register as a sex offender.
That's exactly right. But
so he's trying to claim that portion should be stricken.
That's exactly right. And then we're going to do case or no case. Case or no case is Cal, who's not here, always throws out a case. It's either a real case or it's not a real case, and we have to determine whether or not it's a case and what the verdict's going to be. And this time I'm going to do it to Todd and Denise. I'm going to throw one out and see if you know whether or not I'm telling you something true and what the verdict was if it is something true. But before that, let me tell you something. I call celebrities, top celebrity. We're going to talk about Katy Perry today. That's an A celebrity. Isn't that right? That's an A celebrity.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The key is becoming a B celebrity. I think we are C celebrities right now. And so a C celebrity is you're trying to be a celebrity right now. But, I got stopped in a large, let's say, home improvement store the other day, and someone said, Fred Penny. And I said, yeah. They said, oh. And they walked up to me, and it was a person I've known in the past. It's a great guy, and I'm going to give him a shout out. His name's Luke Patterson, Patterson Investigations. And the first thing he said is, that Radio Law Talk show was great. I listened to it. Shout out, Luke, man. Thanks for listening to Radio Law Talk. But this is what I think we're going to do. I haven't told Luke this yet, so I'm going to do it on the air. So, Luke, what we're going to do is basketball season's coming up, and we got C-Rod, Chris Rodriguez, that is out going to be doing his basketball thing with his son, and apparently he coaches part-time, and we're going to have Luke go investigate him.
It's his daughter.
Oh, it's his daughter. I thought it was his son. Okay, it's his daughter does. And we're going to go out and we're going to investigate him, and we're going to have the cameras on him to see him jumping up and down, yelling and screaming, whining like a baby, and we're going to put it live, because if he doesn't show up, we're going to put it live here on air of him, the pictures of him, and maybe his voice too. And we're going to have Luke. We're going to ask Luke if he'll do that. Luke, you're not going to charge us for this, but thanks, Luke Patterson, for listening to Radio Law Talk. Us C celebrities, C.
Well, except for Chris. Chris is a B celebrity.
He's B celebrity because he's a Harvard boy. Again, we're going to shout out to the Amargosa Valley. Let me tell you what's going on. If you weren't here, not last week, but the week before, Amargosa Valley is a news station that has rolled in, the KPKK 101.1 FM, and Rodriguez was just on one saying there's nobody listening to us from the Amargosa Valley, and guess what? Bill calls in, and he said he would pay $20 to anyone that called in from the
Chris
Amargosa.
said.
Chris did.
Chris said he'll pay $20 to anybody that called in from Amargosa Valley, and because he didn't think that anybody would be listening to us. And so it's very funny how it got to us, but Bill got to us through his sister who was in Wheatland, and he calls in, and he's from Amargosa Valley. And Chris, of course, trying to avoid paying the $20 to Bill, says, oh, I'm going to pull in a little thing. You're not actually in Amargosa Valley right now. You're down in L.A. working.
He was been working, but he had just gone down there for a job briefly, and he was heading back to Amargosa Valley.
That's right.
But here's the thing. Here's the kicker that I want to say. He didn't have the $20 on him. So what happens is the $20 is sent to Bill with a signed mug and a shirt signed by us, a Radio Law Talk shirt, and the $20 comes out of my wallet. And sure enough, I had no call from Chris the week, and then he calls up last minute, oh, I can't roll in today. He's getting out of what? Todd, what does he get out? You know as well as I do what Rodriguez is getting out of.
What he's getting?
All advertising for legal services.
Yeah, that's exactly all advertising for legal services.
Well, he's getting out of a lot of ribbing here today.
Yeah.
Well, so he thinks, but.
$20.
It's $20, but what he's got to understand, as I listened to part of the podcast and had family members listening in when I was absent a couple of times, just because you're not here doesn't mean that you don't get teased. You're just not here to defend yourself.
That's exactly right.
Sometimes there's no defense, Todd.
Well, sometimes you're true. You're true.
And that's what I'm saying. Don't ever miss Radio Law Talk, because if you're gone, we're going to hammer you. And this next 3 hours, we're going to hammer them, okay? But let's talk. Let's get to case or no case. You guys ready for this?
Okay.
Get ready to queue up the case or no case stuff. Here we go.
I got it right.
Now it's time to play Case or No Case.
All right, case or no case. This is where Cal rolls in, by the way, 3-time Emmy Award nominee but never won, tells us about a case that is either true or false, and tells us what the verdict is, if there was a verdict, and what happens. So ready for this? You guys have no idea. And actually, it's I memorized it. All right, so I'm going to use the names. In 2010, I'm going to use the name of Cal, a guy by the name of Cal, and a lady by the name of Denise were friends. And they were at their home, and they're all single, and Cal has a friend by the name of Chris that was there, and they're throwing a party. And let me tell you, this guy named Cal gets a little bit hammered, okay? And they're throwing this party, and these guys are in their late 20s, and the gals are in their late 20s. And as they get hammered, this guy named Cal gets a little out of shape. And when he's drinking too much, he does not act right. And so he was mad at the cat that was sitting over in the corner. Todd,
I may have a conflict of interest.
This will boil your blood. And he picks up the TV because he doesn't like what's going on, and he's agitated and throws it at the wall, not necessarily at the cat, but threw it at the wall, and it lands next to the cat. Doesn't hurt the cat. But the cat is a mellow cat and just kicking back. The TV's broken. The wall, there's there could be a picture of the wall that shows like a little dent in the wall. And he grabs the second TV and throws it, and that time it hits the cat and kills the cat.
Oh.
And finally, by the time this friend Denise is trying to get him to stop, he throws another little tiny TV, and it just lands over in the same area. And so he breaks 3 TVs. Now, they're cheap TVs. These people don't have money, and they're from the Midwest, and it costs approximately, they have a bill of $1,000. And so she sues him for the $1,000 damages to the TV. She doesn't sue about the issue of the cat, but she sues for the $1,000 that it's going to cost to replace the TVs. So that's what you got to think about, number one, is that a real case? Number two, what are there damages? And if there are damages, she should be awarded the $1,000 for her TVs. And if so, is that true or not true, or is it all fake? So we're going to talk about this in a little bit, or if you want to tweet about it.
Hey, tweet us at Radio Law Talk and chime in and let us know if you think it's the case, and if so, are there damages?
Yep, and we'll be right back after this and tell you the answer.
You're listening to RadioLawTalk.com. And now back to your host, Frederick Penny.
Case or no case? Case or no case? Case or no case? So, here we go. Friend at a party that they throw, hanging out at the house, the apartment / bunch of friends, roommates. The only 2 people that see it, by the way, are this gal, whose TVs they were and whose cat it was, and the friend Cal. We're going to call him Cal, even though it's not Cal, but we're going to call him Cal. Todd Cunin, number 1, was it a case? And if it was a case, who wins and why?
All right, let me just ask a clarifying question, just so I make sure I get the facts straight. Denise, not this Denise, but the Denise in your hypothetical was the one throwing the party.
You're saying it's a hypothetical already. Okay, go ahead.
The one that you have put out.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Since you made up names, that's why I use that term.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, so Denise was the one throwing the party. Cal was a guest.
She was. Yes, a guest. Friend.
Okay.
That came.
Friend. He did not live there.
No, he did not.
Okay. And it was Denise's cat, and Denise, despite her...
At least not that I know of, he didn't live there, at least full time. He might have popped in and out, who knows.
And then, this might not have anything to do with it, but despite the fact that, as you so eloquently put it, Denise was living in the Midwest and didn't have a lot of money, therefore still had 3 TV sets in her house.
Yes.
Okay.
One probably on top of the other. Who knows?
First, yes. Because, you got to have that picture-in-picture screen so you can play Call of Duty and watch the football game at the same time. Okay.
We just lost all our Midwest.
We did. We're not in the Midwest yet, so that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. So first, I am upset that nothing has been done about the cat.
Yeah.
I mean, the question here is, was he sued for the damages to the wall and breaking the television set? This is animal cruelty prima facie case. He should be prosecuted criminally. He should be behind bars for what he did to the cat if this is a true case. That's my 2 cents, and I'm sticking by it.
Okay.
As far as the wall and the television set is concerned, I'm going to say this is a case.
Okay.
I'm going to agree that this isn't something that you have made up. And I am going to say that, yes, there should be damages. There should be $1,000 in damages because, I mean, this is vandalism. I mean, it's damage to property. It's criminal vandalism, if it's anything, get restitution that way, but I believe it's a civil case as well because he intentionally damaged the property. He might try to use some sort of voluntary intoxication defense, but I don't think that's going to get him anywhere. I think this is a case both civilly and criminally.
Okay. Todd, case, yes, and $1,000 given to Denise for her 3 TVs that were stacked on top of each other.
Right.
None of them that probably worked.
Oh.
Oh, wait, did you?
I don't know.
Scrap value of television sets.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, in most states, this would probably be a small claims matter because if the damages are $1,000 or less, you would certainly file in the small claims court. And the fact that there is no witnesses, just because it's a he said, she said, truly,
quite literally,
perhaps, then that shouldn't matter because there were pictures taken and there were damage to both personal property and to the real estate. I guess the home on the real estate, on the walls. So I like the fact that I wish the cat had not gotten hurt.
Brad, start looking for a drum roll button. So just hold on.
Yeah, so I feel that it is a case.
Okay, it's a case.
And that there are real damages. And that I'm also upset with Denise for not putting some value on her cat because I think that she should have because that's the worst. That's the victim in this case.
Yeah, but I get, just so you know, we're talking the law, that is still a chattel or property in California, a cat, and you get damages only as to the value of the cat, not, what your love of the cat or whatever. It's like a piece of property, and so it's the damages, just FYI. So roll it, roll your the drum roll. All right, here's the answer. Todd and Denise are correct, kind of.
No.
Yes, here we go.
No.
In 2010, this is an actual case that came before a TV show, and the TV show, quote, judge awarded the $1,000, but later found it was all a fake. It was not a case. It was friends trying to figure out a way to get from the Midwest to get on TV and hang out in L.A. So they got their flights, their friends' flights who were the witnesses out there. They were put up in hotels. They were paid $1,000 to come party in Los Angeles. Yes, it's a case. Yes, they're awarded $1,000 by this TV show, but no, it was not a case. It was all made up. So there you go.
So what's the penalty for perjury on a television show?
I don't know, but man, I was excited about that case or no case. I thought that was a great one.
Why? If you're going to make it up,
Kitty cat's
why
fine.
kill the cat in your makeup story?
You didn't hear. I forgot to tell you the other fact. She then argues that in the cross-examination, oh, what did you do with the cat? I put it in a box and buried it within a few minutes afterwards. I'm like, okay,
right.
You're in. You just walked outside and threw the cat in. So what a great, sensational way to roll into L.A., get on TV, and party in Los Angeles.
Don't give Todd any ideas.
That's exactly what we're going to do. Well, that's case or no case. I stumped them in some way, but they were right in another. So it goes to show that if you want to be on the show, you just fake something and just tell them what's going on, and maybe case or no case, you'll be live here.
If you want to be on a show, but if you want to be on this show and your method of getting on this show involves feline homicide, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, Todd's going to beat you to death. Okay, let's talk about Durst really quick. Todd and Denise, just give us a general Denise always mentions, if you go to our YouTube site, which is Radio Law Talk YouTube, our best YouTube show is the Durst clip where Cal accidentally, now Durst, what he does is he's doing this HBO show. He's in trial for a murder, and he's doing this HBO show, and he's got the mic on. He takes a break, and he goes into the bathroom, and his mic is still live. And then he's talking about, oh, of course I did it. Of course. So he's confessing while going to the bathroom, in the men's bathroom, during the break of this HBO show, while he's got his mic on. And Cal is over there in our studio live, and he forgets to. There's a little segment there where he says that he did it, but
he says I killed all of them, right?
Yeah,
right, something like that.
Yeah, so
right?
he could have been just saying it to himself and just joking or something. But the point is, Cal backs it up too far. He backs the tape up that we're not supposed to really shouldn't show on air, and it shows him sitting on the bat, and you can hear him on the toilet doing his business the whole time, and Cal's trying to push forward, and I'm laughing so hard. And so that was our great Durst case that we talked about. It's on our podcast. Go to radiolawtalk.com, go to our website, hit the podcast, find the Durst one, and you can hear it there, or you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it.
Watch it. It's super funny, and a lot of people like to watch that one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So what's happened now is Durst is in trial in Los Angeles for, by the way, was it the second or third murder that they're trying to say that he third
Yeah, it was third
murder.
Wow.
And so he
first
rolls
was his wife of many years ago.
Right.
The second was a neighbor.
Right, that's correct.
And then the third was this woman,
friend,
who was his confidant. And they were concerned that the allegation is that when they started looking at him to prosecute him for the murder of his wife, that he may have divulged to her as his confidant information about that. And so their theory is that he killed person number 3 to keep her from being able to testify in the trial for person
Now, he's in the middle of the trial, I understand.
Go ahead.
And he's apparently very sick.
Just never rolls in.
Right. He doesn't come. He says, I'm sick. But I think I'm understanding that he's actually in the hospital. It's not like a fake sick.
Well, he's supposed to start. They were supposed to start at right by now. They suppose. I think I haven't been able to find out whether they're back in trial now. But he's actually was in custody, and the sheriff walks up, and the bailiff, Your Honor, he's in the hospital. So Durst is now in the hospital. He might be out by now. I don't know as of December 2nd, but he's still in trial in Los Angeles, but Southern California. So what's important about this? Why is this Durst thing? They're a very wealthy family, and I'm not saying anything about the family, but they're worth, my understanding, hundreds of millions.
Yes.
And this is not just some schmuck in the corner. They've got money.
I remember when we were talking about this. We were talking about this case around the same time that we were talking about El Chapo.
Oh, yeah.
And it turned out that the Durst family actually was worth more than El Chapo. And the comment was, see, kids, if you want to make money, you don't have to go into drugs. You can go into construction. It's more lucrative.
That's exactly right. So we're going to talk about Burning Man right after the break. I'm Fred Penny with Denise Dirks and Todd Cunin. And tweet us at
Radio Law Talk. We want to hear from you.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to RadioLawTalk.com. And now back to your host, Frederick Penny.
Call us at 851-855-LAW-RADIO or tweet us at Radio Law Talk to talk about our latest topics. Burning Man, we talked about Burning Man a number of months ago. That's in August and September is the Burning Man up in Nevada. And we talked about the laws. If you're showing up to Burning Man, we here at Radio Law Talk, we're the first and most important people to listen to prior to going to Burning Man so you can understand the laws and not get arrested there. And we went through details of the law of what you can and can't do and what type of things that you can be arrested for, et cetera, et cetera. But the most important thing that we've learned is there's a lost and found at Burning Man.
That is by far the most important thing.
And they run it for about 3 months. They don't just run it for a week or whatever. They bring the items to San Francisco and they store them, and they make a really good effort to try to get the items back with their owners.
So what kind of stuff shows up in this lost and found?
So here we go. So here's what's still missing. Is a marching band hat with gold mirror tiles, a furry cheetah vest. It's a vest, not just a furry cheetah. It's a furry cheetah vest, headdress with horns, and a chainmail loincloth skirt.
Okay, so...
and dentures.
Do you remember at the top of the show when I said that my buzz phrase for today was going to be suspicious circumstances, and Cal is gone under suspicious circumstances, and so is Harvard boy Rodriguez gone under suspicious circumstance. I'm telling you, I wish I had a GPS monitor for both of them, because I'm guessing that regardless of what story we've been told, they are at the lost and found at Burning Man to get their stuff back.
That's
because
exactly
I envision a picture out there with, what do we got here? With Cal wearing the horned headdress.
Yeah, the headdress with horns, and then a furry cheetah vest. Cal.
Well, and he's got the furry cheetah vest, and then Rodriguez is wearing the loincloth.
The chainmail
loincloth, and probably nothing else for either of them. And there is, I don't know, a piece of yarn attached to Chris's neck, like a little leash, a la Return of the Jedi when Princess Leia is laying in front of Jabba the Hutt. Yeah.
That's what you get, Cal and Chris, by not showing up to Radio Law Talk. We now know where you are. You are at you're in San Francisco at the Burning Man Lost and Found, and there it is. Dentures, I think those are Cal's.
The dentures is a good story, because the guy shows up and he lost a partial denture, and he takes it out of the bag and he sticks it in his mouth and he goes, "That fits. See, it is mine."
I'm just concerned that Cal's dentures fit somebody else.
Scary.
So much for that authentication of dental records only coming back to one person.
Radio Law Talk, we talk about the law, and we talk about Cal and Chris missing things at Burning Man. So let's talk a little bit about the Stanford Brock Turner. Very briefly, let's talk about Brock Turner. He has appealed. There's an appeal coming forward. As of Friday, an appeal came.
Right. We talked about Judge Recall and Brock Turner case.
Which is the Stanford
back.
swimmer, right?
He's a Stanford swimmer, very, very talented Stanford swimmer who was found guilty of rape as against an unconscious woman. And the judge in the case, Aaron Persky, gave him what some people would consider a very light sentence.
Extremely.
He got 6 months, but he does have to register as a sex offender. That's part of the condition of his sentencing. So now Brock Turner, it's my understanding, has actually filed appeal as of Friday. And Todd, you know more about this appeal.
Yes. Well, so what happened was, I haven't seen the appeal, and the information that we have are from the various news outlets that have reported this, but he has filed an appeal, and it's not to overturn or to get out of the sex offender registration, because that's by statute. The judge has no discretion. What he is charged with, what he is convicted of, under Penal Code Section 290 in California, he has to register as a sex offender. There's no discretion. Judge can't waive it. So the only way to get out of that would be for him to seek a new trial, to try to get a new trial and beat the conviction by going with a new trial. And apparently that is what he has done. And as bad as a sex offender registration is for somebody, because it's lifetime going forward, I don't know that he realizes exactly what he could be in for if his motion for a new trial is granted. I mean, because what could happen if he gets a new trial? Now, mind you, he's already served his time in this case. It was a light sentence anyway. But if he gets a new trial and is convicted again, he is now going to be resentenced. And my guess is Persky's not going to be the one that hears this case.
Persky, the judge.
Persky, the judge, is not going to be the one that hears the retrial. They may send it to somebody else, and even if Persky was, I don't know that he would sentence the same way, but it's not like there's a cap on what his sentence could be. Like he couldn't get any worse than what he got in the first trial. If he's convicted again, he's subject to the full punishment of the law.
Right.
And
what's the full punishment for?
Why roll the dice?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're looking at a guy who could face prison time,
like 20 years, right?
In the California Department of Corrections. And I'll give you an example of how a request to roll back the clock, so to speak, on a conviction can hurt you. When I was a DA, there was a case that came forward in the local court where a guy had been convicted of an offense, and he sought to have his guilty plea withdrawn. This was, he get buyer's remorse, and about a month after.
So back up. So he pled guilty.
He pled guilty,
and the judge is now going to sentence him.
And he pled guilty, and he had already been sentenced. And it was after the fact that now he didn't like what he got. And so he wanted to come back and withdraw his guilty plea. And typically the way they do it is they throw their attorney under the bus by saying, I wasn't advised of this and this and this and this and this. And so he's sitting there in court with his new attorney. And obviously, we were objecting from the DA's office saying, no, it's done, let's go. And the judge said, you know what, I'm going to agree with you, defendant.
You've done everything you needed to do to show us to get this granted.
And I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to allow you to withdraw your guilty plea if that's what you want to do. Yes, that's what I want to do. Okay, guilty plea is withdrawn. Case now goes back to, you've been arraigned, we're going forward, I'm setting bail. And the defendant was like, what? What do you mean? Well, if we're going back to where we were, bail has to be set in this case. And I'm looking at bail schedule. I'm setting bail at $50,000. And this guy who went in with his attorney to get it, his motion was granted, and now he's being taken into custody because he didn't have the $5,000, which is what you'd have to come up with for the $50,000 bond. So he had to go into custody right then because his motion was granted. You know, that's just a microcosm here of what happened to him on a smaller case.
And I bet you he looks at his attorney that's sitting with him and said, you didn't tell me about this possibility.
Yeah, which ironically was exactly what he argued to get his previous case overturned. My attorney didn't tell me about what was going on. That's a microcosm of what happened. Brock Turner, if he gets a new trial and gets convicted, is in for a lot more.
Well, that would be because of the recall of the judge in this matter. I think any subsequent judge is going to be very, 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 very cautious. Plus, if I was Aaron Persky and I'm looking at this case and I'm my career is being impacted by my decision in this case, I'd be a little bit upset that he's appealing this case because he did get such a light sentence. And that the real teeth was the sex offender registration, and he's trying to get out of that too.
I tell you, as an attorney, you know that he's going back. His original attorney is going, home run, grand slam. I grand slammed this thing, and the guy's still not happy.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, come on. I mean, what's going on? I mean, sometimes you just have to shake your head and go, really?
And really quickly on another note, the petition is going forward to recall Judge Persky. It was blocked for a period of time by a retired San Francisco judge, but then she got into the law and it's going forward.
I read an article where one judge had written an op-ed saying, I am glad that he is appealing because I agree that this sentence was wholly inappropriate. It should have been worse.
Hey,
so the judge was glad it was happening because it should have been worse, and he hopes he gets it because he hopes he gets what he really deserves.
Yeah.
Hey, as we get into our next hour program, we're going to have some research from Olivia Scott from Pepperdine University School of Law. She has done a great job for us, and we're going to get into her material. And we just wanted to say thanks, Olivia, and keep listening.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Mel B a little bit. The divorce looks like it's rolling in. And then in finishing, we're going to talk about the Kate Stelly, San Francisco gal that was killed.
Kate Steinle.
Kate Steinle, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The one that was killed. Potholes, defects in cars. Katy Perry and farm workers. We'll be right back the next hour.